The typical cost for electricians to perform rough and work for outlets in residential construction generally falls between $50 and $120 per outlet. Several factors can influence this price range. These factors can include firstly the complexity of the electrical work involved. Simple outlet installations in easily accessible locations will naturally cost less than complex installations that require running wires through difficult spaces or installing specialized outlets. Secondly, the location of the project plays a significant role. Labor costs and material prices can vary widely between different geographic areas, influencing the overall cost. Thirdly, the experience and licensing of the electrician also affects the pricing. Licensed and insured electricians with extensive experience typically charge more due to their expertise and the added protection they provide. Paying only $25 per outlet for rough-in work is significantly below the industry average. It would be difficult for a legitimate contractor to make a profit at this price point, especially given the recent increases in wire prices and fuel costs. It is possible that unlicensed or inexperienced individuals may offer electrical work at very low rates. However, it is crucial to prioritize hiring properly licensed and insured electricians to ensure the safety and quality of the work and to protect your property from potential electrical hazards. When evaluating bids for electrical work, it is essential to consider the following factors. Firstly, verify the electrician's licensing and insurance. Request proof of current licenses and insurance coverage to ensure they meet the required standards in your area. Secondly, obtain multiple bids from different electricians. Comparing bids from several qualified electricians will provide you with a better understanding of the prevailing market rates and help you identify any outliers. Thirdly, review the scope of work and materials included in each bid. Ensure that all bids include a detailed description of the work to be performed and the materials to be used. This will help you compare bids on an apples-to-apples basis and avoid any misunderstandings. Fourthly, check online reviews and ask for references. Research the reputation of each electrician by reading online reviews and contacting previous customers. This will provide you with valuable insights into their quality of work and customer service. Fifthly, consider the electrician's experience and expertise. Choose an electrician with a proven track record in residential electrical work and the specific type of installation you require. Sixthly, be wary of bids that are significantly lower than the average. Extremely low bids may indicate that the electrician is cutting corners on materials or labor, which could compromise the safety and quality of the work. Seventhly, get a written contract. Before any work begins, ensure that you have a written contract that clearly outlines the scope of work, materials to be used, payment terms, and project timeline. This will protect both you and the electrician in case of any disputes. Eighthly, understand the permit requirements. Electrical work often requires permits from your local building department. Ensure that the electrician is familiar with the permit requirements and will obtain the necessary permits before starting the work. Ninthly, discuss any potential challenges or concerns with the electrician upfront. Address any potential challenges or concerns you have about the project with the electrician before work begins. This will help avoid any surprises or misunderstandings later on. Tenthly, prioritize safety and quality over cost. While it is important to stay within your budget, never compromise on safety or quality when it comes to electrical work. Choose a qualified and experienced electrician who prioritizes safety and uses high-quality materials. The factors that influence the cost of electrical work for residential outlets can be broken down into several categories, including firstly, the type of outlet being installed will affect the cost. A standard 120 volts outlet will typically be less expensive to install than a specialized outlet such as a 240 volts outlet for appliances or a ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI outlet for bathrooms and kitchens. Secondly, the location of the outlet also impacts the cost. Outlets that are easily accessible and located near existing wiring will be less expensive to install than outlets that require running new wiring through walls, ceilings, or floors. Thirdly, the complexity of the wiring involved also affects the cost. If the wiring needs to be run through difficult spaces, such as tight crawl spaces or attics, the installation will be more time-consuming and expensive. Fourthly, the number of outlets being installed at the same time can also influence the cost. Electricians may offer discounts for installing multiple outlets at once, as it can be more efficient to complete the work in a single visit. Fifthly, the need for any additional work, such as drywall repair or painting, can also add to the overall cost. If the installation requires cutting into walls or ceilings, you will need to factor in the cost of repairing and finishing the surfaces. Sixthly, the electrician's labor rate will also affect the cost. Electricians' labor rates can vary depending on their experience, licensing, and location. Seventhly, the cost of materials such as wiring, conduit, and outlet boxes will also be factored into the overall cost. Eighthly, permit fees, if required, can add to the cost of the project. Ninthly, the electrician's overhead costs, such as insurance, vehicle expenses, and office expenses, will also be factored into the pricing. Tenthly, the demand for electrical services in your area can also influence the cost. In areas where there is high demand for electricians, prices may be higher. To get an accurate estimate of the cost of installing outlets in your home, it is best to obtain multiple bids from different electricians. Be sure to provide them with a detailed description of the work you need done and ask them to break down the costs for labor and materials. Also, verify their licensing and insurance before hiring them. Considering these factors, it is important to remember that electrical work should always be performed by a qualified and licensed electrician to ensure safety and compliance with local codes. Attempting to do electrical work yourself can be dangerous and may void your home insurance policy. When evaluating bids for electrical work, be wary of extremely low prices, as this could indicate that the electrician is cutting corners on materials or labor. It is always best to choose a qualified and experienced electrician who prioritizes safety and quality over cost. Some common types of outlets that may be installed in residential construction include: firstly, standard 120 volts outlets are the most common type of outlet used for general purpose applications such as lamps, appliances, and electronics. Secondly, 240 volts outlets are used for high power appliances such as electric stoves, clothes dryers, and air conditioners. Thirdly, ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI outlets are required in bathrooms, kitchens, and other wet locations to protect against electric shock. Fourthly, arc fault circuit interrupter or FCI outlets are designed to protect against fires caused by arcing faults in electrical wiring. Fifthly, USB outlets provide a convenient way to charge electronic devices such as smartphones and tablets. Sixthly, tamper-resistant outlets are designed to prevent children from inserting objects into the outlets. Seventhly, smart outlets can be controlled remotely using a smartphone or voice assistant. Eighthly, recessed outlets are designed to be flush with the wall surface for a clean and modern look. Ninthly, floor outlets provide a convenient way to access electricity in the middle of a room. Tenthly, surge protector outlets protect electronic devices from power surges. Understanding the different types of outlets and their applications can help you make informed decisions when planning your electrical work. It's always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the best type of outlet for your specific needs and to ensure that the installation is performed safely and in compliance with local electrical codes. The cost of materials for roughing in an electrical outlet can vary depending on several factors, including the type of wiring you use, the type of outlet box, and the quantity of materials needed. Here is a general overview of the materials typically required and their approximate costs. Firstly, electrical wire is needed to connect the outlet to the electrical panel. The type of wire used will depend on the circuit's amperage and the local electrical codes. Common types of wire used for outlets include 14-2 with ground and 12-2 with ground non-metallic or NN cable. The cost of electrical wire can range from $0.50 to $1 per foot, depending on the gauge and type of wire. Secondly, an outlet box is needed to house the electrical connections and provide a secure mounting point for the outlet. Outlet boxes can be made of plastic or metal and come in various sizes and shapes. The cost of an outlet box can range from $1 to $5, depending on the material and size. Thirdly, an electrical outlet is needed to provide a point of connection for electrical devices. Outlets come in various types, including standard duplex outlets, GFCI outlets, and USB outlets. The cost of an electrical outlet can range from $1 to $20 depending on the type and features. Fourthly, wire connectors are needed to connect the wires together inside the outlet box. Common types of wire connectors include wire nuts and push-in connectors. The cost of wire connectors can range from $0.10 to $0.50 per connector. Fifthly, cable staples or clamps are needed to secure the electrical wire to the studs or joists. The cost of cable staples or clamps can range from $0.5 to $0.25 per staple or clamp. Sixthly, a circuit breaker is needed to protect the electrical circuit from overloads and short circuits. The cost of a circuit breaker can range from $5 to $20 depending on the amperage and type of breaker. Seventhly, electrical tape is needed to insulate and protect electrical connections. The cost of electrical tape can range from $1 to $5 per roll. Eighthly, a voltage tester is a useful tool for checking for voltage in electrical circuits. The cost of a voltage tester can range from $5 to $20. Ninthly, a wire stripper is a useful tool for removing insulation from electrical wires. The cost of a wire stripper can range from $5 to $20. Tenthly, a screwdriver is needed to tighten the screws on the outlet and outlet box. The cost of a screwdriver can range from $5 to $20. The total cost of materials for roughing in an electrical outlet can range from $15 to $50, depending on the specific materials used and the quantity needed. It is important to note that these are just approximate costs and the actual cost may vary depending on your location and the supplier you purchase the materials from. Additionally, it is always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that you are using the correct materials and following all applicable electrical codes. Some potential issues that could arise when roughing in electrical outlets include: firstly, incorrect wiring can cause electrical shock, fire, or damage to appliances. It is important to follow all applicable electrical codes and use the correct wiring methods. Secondly, overloaded circuits can cause circuit breakers to trip or wires to overheat, potentially leading to a fire. It is important to ensure that the circuit is properly sized for the intended load. Thirdly, loose connections can cause arcing, which can lead to a fire. It is important to make sure that all connections are tight and secure. Fourthly, damaged wiring can create a shock hazard or cause a fire. It is important to inspect all wiring for damage before installing it. Fifthly, improper grounding can create a shock hazard. It is important to ensure that all outlets and appliances are properly grounded. Sixthly, using the wrong type of outlet for the application can create a safety hazard. For example, using a standard outlet in a wet location can create a shock hazard. It is important to use the correct type of outlet for the application. Seventhly, not following local electrical codes can result in fines or require rework. It is important to be familiar with and follow all applicable electrical codes. Eighthly, working on live electrical circuits can be extremely dangerous and can result in serious injury or death. Always turn off the power to the circuit before working on it. Ninthly, using the wrong tools can damage the wiring or create a safety hazard. It is important to use the correct tools for the job. Tenthly, not having the necessary skills or experience can lead to mistakes that can be dangerous or costly to fix. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. To minimize the risk of potential issues, it is always recommended to hire a qualified and licensed electrician to perform electrical work. A qualified electrician will have the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform the work safely and in compliance with all applicable electrical codes.